A fragile ceasefire between Gaza Strip and Israel is under pressure as the militant group Hamas hands over the remains of hostages to Israel, but one body was found not to belong to a hostage, raising tensions. 8 trucks have meanwhile begun entering Gaza in a limited way. Ladies and gentlemen, from inside Bangladesh and from around the globe, I welcome all of you to today's International Affairs broadcasting from Satv's Dhaka studio. My name is Rashid Kanchan, your host, and I have a very distinguished gentleman, Air Commodore Ishfaq Elahi, who understands international affairs, conflicts and negotiation. In some extent, his statements become so powerful while discussion. And from Washington, we will have Norman Floyd Barnes, our geopolitical correspondent based in Washington, D.C. Let me begin from Washington. Norman, what are the latest you have? Do you have any breaking news at this stage? I have something I will share with you little bit later on.
Greetings. Greetings from Washington. Today we start another day with another holdout in Congress. It appears that the Democrats and Republicans have not come to terms on how they want to proceed with the government. And the big issue today is the conversation, actually the comment by the president regarding Venezuela and the CIA. That is bringing up a lot of conversation about the legality of the attacks and the operations of the CIA has stated.
So this is going into the top rank, but on the other side we see another news goes against the reputation of United States, which is the United States passport has dropped out of the world's top 10 most powerful passport for the first time in 2 decades, now tied for 12th place. This signals a shifting landscape in global mobility and diplomatic court. We will discuss a little bit later. Let me welcome our international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Pantho, who has recently come back from United States after successfully covering United Nations General Assembly. Shamsul Alam Pantho, do you have anything to give on today's discussions, because so many new events are taking place around the globe?
Thank you so much, Mr. Kanchan. Of course, welcoming Mr. Ishfaq Elahi Chaudhary in the studio, and Norman Floyd Barnes, who joins us through Zoom. According to Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes, we know that the rhetoric regarding the Caribbean has shifted major. We see that the implementation of CIA into Venezuela's operation or Venezuela's government is, of course, is also one type of breaching international rules and law. But of course, that is quite so important as of today. We know that in the last couple of days and weeks, we have seen various boats being gunned down by the U.S. Army, and it has caused people like a Colombian leader who had gone to the UN in support of Palestine. So right now Latin America is seeing an increased tensions with the United States of America, and this is one of the biggest news that I have for today.
All right, sir. But I want to talk with Air Commodore Ishfaq Elahi regarding something is more important for South Asian people. Sir, first of all, I want to get your feedback on recent incidents took place between Pakistan and Afghanistan. And one more thing I will add later on. Recently, Taliban, one of the top leader from Taliban has visited Dr. J. Jaishankar, Foreign Minister of India. It is giving different signal in South Asian geopolitical, economic tie-up and also strategic tie-up. I want to get your opinion and the latest on these 2 issues, sir.
Well, this is an ongoing situation. In the last few days, there has been a constant, fight between the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan and the Pakistan Army all along the Pakhtunkhwa region. As you know that the Afghan government, since the inception of Pakistan in 1947, they have no Afghan government starting from Badshah Zahir Shah down to the present regime. nobody has accepted the Durand line as the official border. Afghanistan was when in 1947 when Pakistan wanted to get into the United Nations, Afghanistan was the only country in the world that opposed Pakistan's entry into United Nations only because they have not accepted the border. According to the Afghanistan, the border starts from the west bank of this Indus River. That means whole of Pakhtunkhwa and northern part of Balochistan is claimed by Afghan government. This demand is depends on the relationship. When the relationship goes bad, the demand comes forward. When the relationship is okay, then the demand is not. It doesn't come up in the front. But right now, the relationship between Pakistan and Afghanistan is like war-like situation because the Pakistan Air Force has gone and bombed the capital, Afghan capital, Kabul, in order to take out one of the leader. Initially they claimed that we have got him with very strong intelligence, but later on they found that he wasn't killed, but some of the Afghan nationals were killed, and some of the maybe the Taliban workers have been killed. And since then, there has been intense fighting between along the border. The Afghan Taliban, and maybe supported by the Afghan army, they have occupied some of the outposts and killed many Pakistani frontier guard and the army also. And in one of the raids, some majors, lieutenant colonel also was killed of Pakistan army. So there is a war-like situation there. So at this time, the visit of Taliban foreign minister to India is very significant because it is like, to me it appears like, my enemy's enemy is my friend. So both for Taliban and government, because India has not yet recognized. The only country I think who have recognized Taliban is the Qatar or something. But Russia has opened up already, Chinese have opened up. So India is also opening up because they find this is the opportunity to keep Pakistan busy on the other front also. Now the Pakistan is sandwiched between, on the eastern side is its relationship with India, on the western side its relationship with Afghanistan is going from bad to worse, and also with Iran along the Balochistan it's not very easy. So this visit to India is significant, and also another very interesting thing happened is that this foreign minister, his name is the Afghan foreign minister, what was his name?
Let me check, sir.
Muttaqi.
Amir Khan Muttaqi.
Amir Khan Muttaqi, and he visited Darul Uloom Deoband to signify the spiritual linkage, because these guys are the product of Darul Uloom Haqqaniya in the place known as Akora Khattak, which is just about 20 miles east of Peshawar, which is very close to the Air Force Academy where I was way back in 1967-68. I was training. So that was a small village at that time, a small madrasa, which has become, during all these 50 years of the American funding and the CIA's funding, it has become a big city. And most of the Taliban leadership are actually graduates from that Darul Uloom. So he visited Darul Uloom, and there was a huge public ovation, and he said that this, we got to get together. These are all, I would say, the political maneuvers. Because Darul Uloom Deoband do not subscribe to militancy, and Darul Uloom Haqqaniya in Pakistan produced all the thousands of militants and the Taliban leadership itself. So things are pretty bad. And another thing that has happened in Pakistan last few days, hundreds of people have been killed after Trump's signing of this Gaza's treaty, and when Pakistani president was himself present, there was a huge demonstration inside Pakistan starting from Muridke. And if you remember, Muridke is one of the places which Indian Air Force attacked during Operation Sindoor. The headquarters of this is known as Labbaik Tehreek-e-Pakistan. This is against a religious extreme organizations. Initially they were all sort of non-violent, but it has become very violent now. They started a march towards Lahore, and more than 100 people have been killed because one of their leader has been killed by now Pakistan Army, which the Indian Air Force was trying to kill, has now been killed by the Pakistan Army. So there is a huge, and you know, Lahore being the heartland of Pakistan, and the last few days there is a huge trouble going on there with so much of killings, burning.
Right.
So I think this is a very volatile situation right now in Pakistan and also in the whole region.
Sir, when I'll be again come back to you, I'll be asking one question. Is there any geopolitical changes you assume because of this new pact between Afghanistan and India, because China invested a lot in Afghanistan? Let me go to Washington when Norman is there. Norman, I was talking that the Gaza ceasefire is becoming gradually fragile because of a few disputes are coming from both the sides. May I know what are the main sticking points undermining this ceasefire and hostage swap process, and how might they be resolved, or some extent not?
The issues are still the same. Hamas wants to retain weapons. They want to retain the authority to be involved with the government. And Israel wants Hamas completely removed from the situation. So nothing has changed. There's not been a external force to come in there or some type of authority. It has not been discussed, has not been displayed any type of external mediation in terms of military authority to come in and to basically control the situation. So until that happens, Palestine and Israel will be at odds because there's internal issues within Hamas, fragmented, fighting. They are executing people who are associated or have any type of, I guess, concerns and I guess advantageous concerns that will help the situation over there. And so right now we still in a state of confusion on exactly how this is going to move forward. And the United States is trying to desperately come to some type of terms with both parties so we can continue to cease fire. If not, we're probably going to go back to conflict again. The president has authorized Israel to do so.
All right, Norman, let me ask a kind of different question to Shamsul Pantho, because he was also following this event. Sir, how does this misidentification of a returned body affect trust between parties and the prospects of this peace? Because one incident already took place, said one person's name, given another person's dead body.
Now, the situation remains very fragile, to say the least. But in my understanding, this kind of situation will only, or this kind of event will only cause further delays. And of course, there are grievances on both sides. There have been a hostage situation on the Israeli side. We know October 7th and how it played out. But 2 years on from that event, today, the death toll which the Israel genocide had claimed was almost 67,000. And it took vast condemnation from several world leaders, not only Arab leaders, but also Western leaders, for Benjamin Netanyahu to reconsider what he was planning with the Gaza Strip. Of course, the position of US President Donald Trump remains in a position where he is trying to disarm Hamas, trying to reclaim parts of Gaza City through, whether or not through Israel. And of course, in all of this, we see the silence of a nation who had a very recent fight with Israel. We can talk about Iran and how Iran had the snapback issue. But coming back to the point here, this will cause a delay between the reconstruction of Gaza and, of course, Palestinian people. But, of course, the misidentification of a dead body, it only shows how far this war has prolonged and how much the humanistic damages really are.
All right, sir.
I want to add something
Yes, sir,
here.
please.
I think that the more than the misidentification, which can be a genuine thing when there are 67,000 people dead and many more, but the most important thing that has happened is the disarming of the Hamas. The public execution of what they call the so-called gang members who are actually anti-Hamas. Within Gaza, you see, for the last 20-25 years or so, there has never been an election. Hamas is holding power because they have the weapons. Whether they really have the support of the people, we don't know. And now, anyone who opposes Hamas, this has happened before the Israeli invasion also, if you remember. Anyone who opposes Hamas is considered an Israeli agent, and he will bring and shot from in public from close range. Now that is not a good sign, and this can lead to infighting between them, because Israelis would naturally try to protect those who are opposing Hamas, and there can be a civil war within the people, and which can lead to a resumption of the hostilities. Right now, as you said, it's fragile, it's very fragile indeed. One action within Israel, for example, a bus bombing or a school bombing or something, it can destroy the whole process. And it has happened. We have seen in Camp David, we have seen in Oslo agreements. There are so many good wishes. There were many wishes, but it is never successful. So this time also, I am very, very sort of skeptical or pessimistic about the whole thing.
All right, sir. I need to do one more question regarding this to you. What role are external mediators like neighboring Egypt or mediation country Qatar or United States are playing, and how effective are they likely to be? Because somebody has to monitor the points has been agreed by both the party in execution.
Excuse me. I am again skeptical about all these countries that you mentioned. Egypt has been a silent witness to all these things. They have not accepted a single, Gaza, refugees. They have not allowed the aid packages to come through Sinai, and same thing with Turkey. Despite all the vocal support the Erdogan provides, he hasn't come. He hasn't. The Turkish Airlines flights are still operating. His the diplomatic relations are still on with Israel and all. And Qatar, tried to play all sides, and after actually they have come back to their, in one way they have come back to their senses after the Israeli attack. Then they realized that they just can't play all the sides at all times. So unless President Trump moves very strongly to enforce whatever he wanted to do with the restoration of peace in that area, and appointment of a civilian administration, it could be a Palestinian administration. But I think that allowing this continued arming of Hamas and the role that they are playing now can indeed be, the future of this treaty can be very, very dark indeed.
All right, sir. Norman, would you mind to tell us that President Donald Trump at his speech clearly says, I don't understand two-state solution. I understand peace. I understand peace deal. I understand ceasefire negotiation. Why he is taking U-turn from a former deal took place under the leadership of former US president? Why he is not agreeing this two-state solution? What he wants?
My response is that anything that the previous administration initiated, he will basically contradict. His approaches that I'm the president, have a new administration. So anything that was done in the past has to be bad, and only I can determine exactly how we move forward in the future. So there'll likely be more contradictions on past performance by past administrations, and he will find a way to basically circumvent that and change. So the mere fact that it wasn't done by him, he will go against it.
And I need to go to a short commercial break, but before that, you heard in news that according to World Passport Power, US passport has been dropped from top 10 list. It is in 12th position right now as an American. How you see this dropping from the top 10 list?
Well, as an American, I'm concerned because I myself travels a lot, and the one of the advantage of being an American is that you was respected and your passport was received. So it's concerning that our image has been tarnished or being tarnished or being reduced because of the current administration and how things are happening. So we have to watch, particularly as a traveler, how effect that has on our standing in the world, and hopefully we can regain the status we once held.
All right, Norman, it is a time to go for a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back soon.
সারা দেশে লাখো মানুষের কঠোর কর্মতৎপরতা ও নিষ্ঠায় এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন 16 কোটি মানুষের হাতের নাগালে। দীর্ঘ 30 বছর ধরে বিশ্বস্ততা ও দ্রুততার সাথে সেবা দেওয়ায় গ্রাহক সেবায় এখন শীর্ষে। বাংলাদেশে গ্রাহক সেবার সাফল্যের পর এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন বিশ্ব বাণিজ্য কেন্দ্র সিঙ্গাপুরে। আপনার যে কোনো পণ্য সিঙ্গাপুর থেকে বাংলাদেশে বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন। এসএ পরিবহন প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, লজিস্টিক্স পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, 22 রবার্টস লেন, সিঙ্গাপুর 218302। ফোন 0065 629 24900। বাংলাদেশ থেকে সিঙ্গাপুরে পণ্য বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন ঢাকা সহ দেশের যে কোনো 80টি শাখা কেন্দ্রে। এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, আপনার সেবা সব সময়।
Welcome, Grand Palace Hotel, Dhaka. A majestic lobby blending timeless elegance with modern design. Experience 5-star comfort in suites and rooms. Sophisticated fine dining restaurant. Crystal clear swimming pool for ultimate.
And what would be the next?
Well, it's very interesting that what Indian Foreign Minister in his first speech, he said that we are two contiguous states, means they are connected, and they could be connected only if whole of Kashmir belongs to India. Then the Wakhan corridor, that's narrow strip, that, so he was saying that, well, are they, he's trying to, and both also Afghanistan, because in fact Afghanistan had been traditionally a very good friend, as I said that they never acceded to the Durand line, So they were from beginning they were having friendly relation with Afghanistan. Right now, you know, the Afghanistan team, for example, is located in India and trained by India, coached by India, and they are doing very well. So similarly, India is looking forward to, if China can have you know, all the minerals, access to their minerals and all, why not India? And they are going to upgrade their, you see, embassy over there. So, well, as you said that Russia is also interested because they have a huge, not contiguous, but they are along with this Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan and all, they have the Russian area of influence. Afghanistan is very much within Russian influence. And China is also, because their border is bordering Xinjiang and all, they can't ignore it. And if China is also interested that if they can't have the corridor going through Pakistan, that land corridor, then the alternative is through Afghanistan to Iran, into the Persian Gulf. So this is a area of interest for all of them. And right now there is a attempt on both China and India to ease their relationship. You see, in the recent that conference, what was that 20 Nations conference, where they both Narendra Modi and the Xi Jinping met, and they are right now Shanghai Cooperation Council, and they are now trying to sort of patch up. Okay, the frontier differences will be there, but the trade and economic relations will continue to grow. Means they are looking forward to a $1 trillion business between the two countries. Russia has always been a traditional friend of India, and only today I saw that there is some restriction Trump has imposed on India not to buy the Russian oil, and to which I don't know whether Modi has agreed or not. But the in Russia and India's relationship is tied for many years. It cannot be just, you see the military, for example, they are their navy, their air force, their army, they are closely, they are trying to diversify. India is trying to diversify, trying to become self-reliant, but their dependence on Russia will remain for a very long time.
Sir, let us include the American perspective on your opinion, because you have given some very important materials or ingredients on this. Norman, once United States invaded Afghanistan, and later when Barack Obama came in power, he withdrawn his troops from Afghanistan. Before that it was Soviet. They invaded Afghanistan, they have gone. Now who is going to invade Afghanistan? Is this China is doing financial invasion with the cooperation of some other countries? What is your comment on that, and what would be the position of United States of American diplomacy in this particular area, Afghanistan, Pakistan and India?
The current administration is heavily involved with Pakistan. Pakistan appears to be a strategic, particularly partner for the region, as it is close to China. It's important that the U.S. keeps a position and close ties that they can to the region, because China presence is growing globally, and we need to have a close relationship with countries there, so we can basically get the intelligence on what's going on in the region and how the military is progressing, and what other countries are aligning themselves with the Chinese and BRIC movement.
All right, Norman, let us check Shamsulam Pantho's opinion. It is a complex situation. Pakistan has done a military and a strategic pact with Saudi Arabia, and somebody is calling it is a NATO type pact. If one country is attacked by the enemies, both the countries will consider the same thing, same feeling. But recently Pakistan has been attacked by Afghanistan. Saudi Arabia did not respond anything. My question is not that. My question is Pakistan is becoming into a complex situation. They have military and strategy tie with Saudi Arabia and United States as well. On the other side, Pakistan is developing its financial relationship with China. Afghanistan is also a target from China. How you see all this complex situation, financial and military strategies? Do you think South Asia is becoming more vulnerable?
Thank you for asking me this question regarding South Asia. I will add on some detail, but let me answer regarding Pakistan. If you look at the schedule of events of this year, they have already dealt with the Kashmir issue, a long-standing dispute between the two neighbors, India and Pakistan. And of course, that's how we started this analysis on international affairs. And today we see there are, it won't be considered a total all-out war, but a border skirmish is definitely present. Not in the scale of Cambodia or Thailand, but not towards the scale of Iran and Israel. So it is brewing, and whether or not the administration of Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif wants, how he will deal with this issue is a matter of question. But coming to South Asia, there is a development that is going to happen in South Korea later this month. We have the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation coming up, which will of course host Donald Trump. He is set to come to the ally nation of South Korea, and some are assuming, according to the US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, that Trump is also prepared to meet the Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of this very meet. Of course, that would definitely add on to the retrospect between the tensions that include USA and China. But coming back, South Asia is now more exposed than ever, given that it has a lot of countries. Every one of these countries are trying to look at their own intentions of a better future or a better economic growth for each and individual country.
Sir, let me get an expert opinion. Air Commodore Ishfaq Elahi sir is here. Sir, you have the experience to work and be trained in Pakistan. You have keen eyes on South Asian geopolitical and economic development as well, military development as well. Do you think Afghanistan and India's tie is a counter of the tie between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, or in particular Pakistan?
Well, frankly speaking, right now, you see, very strange country, Pakistan. It's they have fought 4 days of war, very inconclusive, you see. And in fact, if you see the attacks inside in Pakistan were much more prominently displayed than any attack on the they lost some aircraft, that's part of the deal. But the man was promoted to Field Marshal. And then he was invited in Washington for a breakfast. And then it was revealed that he and his family members are already American citizens. Now, I do not know of in the past, well, when we are one united Pakistan, any Pakistani officers, even officers, not to speak of the chief of the staffs, were having dual citizenship. No, not allowed at all. Now, the man is already an American citizen. He is also Field Marshal, and he is also Pakistan's army chief. So you can see that how they have tightly brought them in the grips. So he can't move much. And about Saudi and Pakistani deal, I would say it is, as you said, like NATO, it's not at all. It is a Saudis, they have brought an army at their doorstep. Because if you see who is Saudi Arabia, who is the enemy? Saudi Arabia's enemy is not, Israel. Saudi Arabia's enemy is sitting on the south, Yemen, and in the north is Iran. That's that they are worried. Iran and their proxy in the and Pakistan's enemy is, it was traditionally India, now it has become Afghanistan. Now, don't you ever think that if there is a war tomorrow between India and Pakistan, Saudi troops will come to Pakistan, Saudi aircraft? Never. Maybe they will try to influence on India to, persuade them not to push too much. So this is a year by which, already about more than 10,000 Pakistani troops are fighting along with their ex-army chief, forgetting his name, Rahil Sharif. Rahil Sharif is in Saudi Arabia with his whole divisions of troops fighting the Yemenis. The Saudis don't want to die in the terrain. So with this treaty, they are going to have more and more Pakistanis going there, and for Pakistan it's okay because they are going the remittance from the.
Sir, you have raised a very technical and very interesting subject for future for South Asia, including Saudi Arabia and Middle East, connecting that. But Norman has a time limitation. I want to do the last question, Norman. Norman, you heard that Donald Trump administration has already authorized covert operation by the Central Intelligence Agency CIA in Venezuela and carried out at least 5 military strikes targeting vessels it claims were transporting narcotics. My just question is, how might this escalation affect diplomatic relationships between the United States and Venezuela, including the other Latin American countries?
This escalation is likely to have a negative impact on diplomatic relations between the United States, obviously with Venezuela and the other Latin American countries. The presumed CIA operations is associated with most people consider a escalated tension of aggression and the violation of sovereignty of the countries, and also the attempt to remove a regime. So the CIA operation has been going on, is intensifying, and we like to see some other ramifications from other Latin American countries, and the reputation again of the United States and South America is slowly deteriorating.
All right. All right,
we
Norman.
We wait.
All
we
right,
wait.
Norman, thank you very much. I appreciate you for your very latest updates putting in the show, and I wish you a very happy day today.
Thank you.
Sir, I was reading one article of
About this drug, if you just want to say,
yes, sir,
that if Trump, any American president, is seriously worried about elimination of drugs in the country, that the best way is to reduce the demand of drugs in the country. You see, by attacking another country and by trying to attack the so-called narco terrorists is not the best way. It's an expensive way. He should address his own home ground, that where the social, if this, you see why drug happens. Drug has happened because of the social unrest or the desperation, economic hardship. These are all the things that is creating the demand, and if there is a demand in the home, then there will be always supplies coming. It's happening in Bangladesh also. See some of the Scandinavian countries where the drugs are allowed, but there is no drugs there. There is no drug problem there. There is no drug is lying down on the road, you see. So, because they have addressed the social issues there, they have addressed the financial issues there. They have not tried to go for a military or police options, in this thing. So this is Trump is actually addressing the trying to find out a wrong enemy. He is fighting the wrong kind of war.
sir. As I said, I was reading one article by one American journalist in Washington Times, not Washington Post. He has written, see, Trump is extremely putting his time to stop the wars around the world, but nobody knows his plan. One day, world will be surprised to see when he will invade the entire Greenland and some parts of Canada. That would be his ending as presidency. I want to do this question to you because you have recently seen the world leaders in the United Nations. You have covered that event successfully. I want to hear from you regarding this article. This article has been hugely criticized and hugely accepted as well.
Well, thank you for asking me regarding this issue. I want to add on to what Mr. Ishfaq was saying regarding the drug issue that they commonly try to target. But there are no, the administration there is not looking towards a social reform, if not to look towards juvenile corrections, those who are involved in usage of drugs, and what are the societal requirements for their welfare, if not what are the rehabilitation options. Instead, they are doing ICE crackdowns in a direct confrontation with the people. Of course, this will become a headache for the United States government in the coming days. But According to various media outlets, the Pentagon is now trying to have much more restrictions on what the media can say and cannot say. This, of course, includes unclassified information, the information that is available to the public. This had intense reactions. Media outlets such as the New York Times, Washington Post, Reuters, AP and CNN has refused to sign this pledge. So this again shows how the media in that nation is being controlled. And of course, if you look at the First Amendment, there is a section called the freedom of press, and the freedom of course, as it says, they can allowed to practice the spread of information throughout the various channels. But one of the things that made Donald Trump very popular right after or before his campaign was his comments regarding him taking over Canada, led by Mark Carney now. And just a few days ago, if not, Mark Carney had visited Donald Trump, and they were, and if you would look at it, he was playing some kind of soft power projection. He was always agreeing to what Mr. Donald Trump says. And in addition, he was also saying his requirements from America for the Canadian people. So much of the remarks that Donald Trump made were more satire and humor towards the people of him taking over Greenland and Canada. But coming back to the regional issues, in his first term, he had made a boundary wall, a border wall, almost about 20 feet high with US's southern. And this time around, it is him cracking down on his own citizens. So he must reassess what he should want to do and how the people should feel before the upcoming midterm elections.
Right, sir. That writer in that article said that world will be surprised when they will see one person who is trying to stop many wars and trying to get the Nobel Prize. He will invade the highest level of intensive invasion to two neighboring countries, especially he will take over the Greenland and some parts of Canada for his interest to be the most successful president in the history of United States in 21st century. I will have some more questions to my very respected, my very favorite Air Commodore Ishfaq Elahi Chaudhry after the break.
Relaxation, modern gym and serene spa for well-being. Perfect venue for corporate events, weddings and parties. Seamless and secured. Elegant and eye-catching design. Indulge, relax, discover the first 5-star chain hotels in Bangladesh. Grand Palace Hotel Dhaka, 22 Kakrail, Dhaka, Bangladesh.
Welcome to Grand Club at Mirpur 10 Dhaka. Elegant spa and wellness facility for ladies and gents. Play pool and snooker in international standard billiard zone. World-class gym facility with exclusive equipment for man and woman. A restaurant of delicious local and international cuisine. Fully air-conditioned building with spacious banquet, car lift, sky view rooftop restaurant, all in one. Grand Club Limited, Mirpur 10.
Economically growing, politically disruption is going on, but one day new government will come, election will happen, interim will go. What the prospects you see, the contribution or participation of Bangladesh in near futures South Asian geopolitical map?
See, we have, as I said, we have a very important geopolitical position. We are a if one has to look at the geography, we are the only land connection between the Asia, rest of Asia and Southeast Asia and East Asia. Now East Asia includes China and Japan. Southeast Asia includes countries such as Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia. Anybody going trade, you see whether it's you call it a Chinese initiative or Asian Development Bank initiative, any road or railway connection must go through Bangladesh. And also the sea communications, the Bay of Bengal. So we have a very important role, and that role we can play. First of all, we have to have the political stability in the country. There will be political upheavals, there will be chaos. Democracy means chaos, but that chaos, through that chaos, a national consensus will be built, and a stable economy. Without stability in both in political fronts, social front and the economic front, you can't play any role, because somebody else will play for it if you don't do it. So if we can do that, Bangladesh will become a very important player, has been a player but not an important player, just because of this our lack of stability. And you see the 53 years of Bangladesh, we say the same thing about Pakistan when we are part of that. There has never been a except once or twice a constitutional change of government, and especially the institution building, whether you call it political party institution or the National Assembly, this building, or we always call it Louis Kahn's, one of the national icon. But how many of us are interested in that? What goes on there, you see? So starting from the local government to the national government, and the government as a whole, the bureaucracy, there has to be a very positive changes. If that comes in, I think with the, we got to get our place in the World Committee, because nobody in the world is going to wait for Bangladesh. Just think of the recently held, I felt myself very small when these, Pakistan was there, India was there, Malaysia in this Sharm el Sheikh, you see,
yes.
And all the countries from Morocco to Indonesia and most of the European countries and United States, and of course they were there. But Bangladesh was not represented, and we have been fighting for the Palestinian rights from the day one. We are the one country. Turkey has relationship, Egypt has relationship with Israel, Jordan has been a friend. They have shot down so many Iranian missiles,
right,
and Bangladesh is not represented there. Our students, our university, I was talking to our university students, look, every day you still have that flag, we want Palestine independent, but nobody called you, nobody even cares. So why have we reached to that stage? We are a nation of 20 million, 200 million people. So we got to understand the world will not wait for you. Our economy, our political framework, our education. You see, education is now our teachers are on the streets. They are being what do you call water cannon on them. You can't go ahead like this. We got to bring in quickly an elected representative government who can bring in stability, and the long-term planning can only start, and we got to do it now.
Sir, let me integrate with a new generation. Shamsul Alam Panthu, our international affairs commentator. Sir, I just want to know, recently you have visited UNGA, you have covered it, you have seen the world leaders, you have seen their body language, you have seen their movements, you have seen the capacity of their diplomacy. Do you think Bangladesh needs to improve a lot in terms of diplomatic progress?
Of course, in the field of diplomacy, when it is concerned, Bangladesh is still far behind. Of course, in that the end stage of the UNGA 80 this time around, the Rohingya refugee repatriation issue was slightly touched upon. But as I was landing in Dhaka, I tried to understand how far behind Bangladesh still is in terms of urban development, urban modernization in compared to other states. If you look at Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, these Southeast Asian countries, they have used their opportunity over the last 25 years to bolster their economy, and almost as so if when you go there, it feels like you are in a Western country. So that's how much change these countries nearby Bangladesh that have developed. But coming back to a breaking news today in local news, the high school certificate pass rate is now 58%. It has dropped from several percentage points from the previous years. So this once again just shows the lack of importance, the lack of growth that Bangladesh requires for future economic success and upheaval. But we need an elected government back into this parliament building, and we need to understand how far or so Bangladesh is behind. We are the 100th nation on the passport index. As you were saying, the US is fighting Malaysia in position 12, while Bangladesh remains in position 100. I am sure that the talent of Bangladeshi people, regardless of whichever generation you belong to, have much more potential, and we should be there in a higher rate than other countries.
Sir, where is the main gap that we are not able to cope up with the international standards, service, business, facilities, logistics? Where is the...
I want to find out another city in this planet which shares the same kind of traffic congestion as Dhaka city. We are losing hours every day. These hours are utilized for the economic benefit of Bangladesh. So we must understand what kind of decentralization method we should apply towards Dhaka, and if not, consider a different capital other than Dhaka to relieve the stress that we face on a daily basis.
Excellent. I want to come to... Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This time there has been Nobel Prize has been declared. University of California, one university has got 5 Nobel Prize this year. Just see our universities, our education sector, what has been the news? Fighting, election, results, this party, that party. There has never been a news on some invention or something, some discovery somewhere.
No research.
No research, nothing. How can you compete with those? 5 Nobel Prize from one American university. So these are, nobody is going to wait, let me tell you. And we'll say 30 years back, the difference between Thailand and Bangladesh was not that much. Okay? They were
Sir,
still
if I directly confront with you, who is responsible for this failure?
Responsible is, of course, our political elites, our bureaucracy, people who will, maybe me, even I was a part of the military, you see, and you see everybody fought for themselves, and just for education I can say, because all the time even when I was in the Air Force, the education has been my concern. The people, we have not first of all given enough emphasis. Somebody who is to be an education minister, somebody who can keep the universities under control, okay, no trouble from there, and you see the schools should go as the way it was been going. There has been never major changes, you see, and in fact, as you said, 58%, the dropout rates of the girls has been phenomenal in last, since COVID-19. It has dropped like anything. The high school graduates have dropped like anything, and the quality, those who are coming out also, the quality, everyone says, you see, there has been many surveys. Our education is now facing a huge crisis. Forget about Singapore or even compared to West Bengal or Assam or Maharashtra, we are the attainments. You see 5 years education, 10 years education, what do you get out of that? You ask a chap a very basic questions, he can't answer. He can memorize many things, but he can't just answer anything beyond the syllabus, you see. So this is one thing, and then of course the disparity. One of the fundamental issues of Bangladesh, creation of Bangladesh, was the disparity. That's what our grievances were against Pakistan. Now see the disparity within Bangladesh today, between rich and the poor, between the haves and the have-nots, between the classes, between the urban and the rural. So this gap is increasing like anything. Today there was a news that people are selling their agricultural lands to the developers because they are going to get a good price. They are not getting good price from the agricultural products. So you see your rice fields and your...
Sir, in short, what would be your bullet advices to the interim government? Because country is heading into election.
I am too small to give a bullet advice. I just gave my feelings that we need to get the representative elected governments who must start functioning as a team with both opposition and the government, and bring about some discipline. He said about traffic discipline, anybody who lands in Dhaka, the airport itself, you see, the traffic discipline, the discipline in the industrial zone. Now you see there are, one of my neighbor is in the NASA group, and he was telling me 20,000 of his workers are without job and he doesn't know how to pay them. And he has to pay. Now they have to bring in maybe some fixed deposit and pay them. But that is like a paracetamol, you can't solve. The industries, this. I think we have the talents, as you said, we have the talents, but we just got to get the job done quickly.
I really appreciate you, sir. I really appreciate Shamsuddin Pantha, our international affairs commentator, Norman as well from Washington. Ladies and gentlemen, time is over, so we have to go. We will see you on Sunday with latest updates of international affairs and development stories.
Let's go.